Hey guys, it is Rachel Feldman. So I wanted to come in here today and talk about mindset. And I've been talking to tons of coaches, and I'm going to actually touch on two different subjects today. One, which is the mindset of what it takes, and then also is the mindset of our client. So I've talked to a lot of coaches, and they, just like many of us, have been struggling to find out what to talk about, and also struggling to be okay to show up. Be okay to show up even in times where maybe they feel a little speechless. So this inspired me to get on today because I was just talking to a coach, and she was sharing with me many of the things that I felt when I built this business 10 years ago. And I had left a multiple six-figure job. I truly believed that I would go into coaching, and I 100% believed everyone would hire me, and that it would be really not easy, but that it would be easier. And so when I look back on creating Rachel's Wellness, and I look back on that first year, the second year of struggle, I think back to what did I have to always do. And so when I talked to this coach who had just invested in a high ticket marketing course, which I even told her everything there is relative. Make sure that you're taking notes, that you're trying to be as available as you can be to take in the information. She said, I just feel like I can't concentrate. And I said to her, all right, listen, I'm going to say this really calmly, and I'm going to say this really slowly. When you entered school, I know when I entered school, I felt a lack of confidence. I didn't know what I was going to offer in my one-on-one. I thought I knew my niche, but clearly it wasn't working in that first year. I was lucky that I made the 12,000 that I did because I took the chance to reach out locally and talk to people and share with people what I hoped the world would be, meaning the topics that I wish were available when I had leaky gut. Some of the things that people always would ask me about, like, how do you lose weight with ease? What is your real strategy? I also talked about detoxing with ease, and that this wasn't scary. That when I was in corporate, I wish that so many of these, so much of this information was easily readable, easily available, but it wasn't. I constantly had to search for solutions for my health issues, search for, everything that you and I have searched for. And it was one of the reasons we all became a coach, because we thought this information should be readily available. Whether it's adrenal issues or hormones or gut or autoimmune or cravings or trauma or any of the stuff that we have journeyed and implemented. And so what I said to her was, you have to go back to that day. Like when I think of persevering in the beginning years of my business, when I wanted to quit, when I would cry that only 2 people came to my teleclass, when I had no idea what I was going to do or how I was going to pay bills, we got $60K in debt. I said to her, listen, you got to take a deep breath. You got to feel the feels, which is one of my favorite words that I tell my kids. Please feel the feels, because mommy didn't. I was a nutcase trying to push and shove my feelings down. And that led to gut issues, autoimmune, confidence issues, martyring, not speaking up when I wanted to say no, holding on to perfectionism and thinking that I wasn't enough. All the dysbiosis emotionally, physically, spiritually, and metaphysically. I said to her, listen, what it takes, and it is scary and it is overwhelming. And I wish I could tell you that there was this yellow brick road that each one of us could go down and it's going to be perfect, but it doesn't exist. And so I said this to her: This is the time when you have to tap in to your why. Why do you do this? Why did you want to get into wellness coaching? Why did you want to become a specialist for doing fitness for the elderly? Like, why? And she said, I know I can do this. And I said, but that's where you have to start. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to create a vision board. And most importantly, get your buttocks on YouTube where it's free and listen to Tony Robbins. Listen to everything that he preaches, which is we have a choice. I know that I have felt lost, uncomfortable, sad, every different emotion in the last 3 months. And the only thing that has kept me right-sized and able to show up is that I kept listening to the words of Tony Robbins to say, each one of us have a choice. It's how we frame our thoughts. If I say that I'm never going to make it as a coach, I'm never going to make it. If I say, well, nobody's going to hire me, they're not going to hire me. That is the power of law of attraction. But law of attraction only works when we show up and do the tangibles. That means, number one, and I said this to her today, I said, get your Jersey butt, because I'm a Philly girl, I can get a little real and raw. I said, get your Jersey butt off the victimhood state. We all feel that. We all own our sadness, our fears, thinking that something would be easy. Nothing is easy in this world. Nothing. If it was easy, everyone would be healthy with one freaking book and one freaking protocol. But the truth is that didn't work. It didn't work for any of us. Maybe something failed you in the system many, many years ago. Maybe nothing failed you in your system and you watched your mom martyr through shit that she should have not martyred through. Maybe you've watched your child suffer with focus issues and nobody can exactly give you the answer. Maybe you had trauma and PTSD from a child and you were just so sick of feeling alone that you started this business. Maybe you are the person who is so geeked out with the microbiome and you're like, damn, I am going to go to every functional medicine practitioner school that I can get my hands on because I'm that hungry. I would say that I was really upset and really felt at a loss 2 weeks ago. And I didn't even know what to say and to show up on any social media. So I just have to pull myself together for a while. And so I contacted my good friend, and the person that was the first book, one of the first books that I picked up when I was like in my 20s, looking for a solution. And that was Emily's Gittleman. If I could call Paul Pitchford, I would, because he was the other book that inspired me. Terry Walls. The people that I talk about were the people that I found in my journey. So I said, Anne, I'm really struggling. This is such a hard time. What are you doing? And she said, I'm writing a book. It was at that moment, 10 days ago, it was a Saturday. And I said, if Anne's writing a book, I can. And so what Tony Robbins talks about is we decide to make a choice. We make a choice to eat healthy at our house. We make a choice to pay it forward to our neighbor. We make a choice to be of service. And however you want to show up right now, maybe you do got to give yourself a pass right now because you're more needed at home with your kids. Maybe you are feeling more overwhelmed right now. Reach out. There are so many free groups, whether it's for emotional eating, addiction, trauma. There are so many ways to get support in this world. Or maybe you just need to do what I said to this woman. Reach out to the people who you know are in similar situations. They're looking for support too, but you have to have the confidence and you have to believe somewhere inside of you that your pain happened for a reason, that you feel what you felt in the years of feeling alone for a reason, because that's what leaders do. We look and we say, I'm not going to sit in victimhood anymore. I'm going to rise above with one voice that can possibly change somebody else who was possibly struggling. I didn't know anything, what my freebies were going to be, what a platform, if Lead Pages or some other damn platform was right, but it didn't matter. I sat there and I used Eventbrite because I had no money. We were, again, in debt. I was begging my mother-in-law for a credit card, and I had no freaking idea how I was going to make this work. But I knew that I had gone through so many things and that I had struggled for years trying to find solutions for my kids because I had given them pylori, all these things, strep, parasites, heavy metals. And I knew that, damn it, when I said to my husband, there is no way that another woman should go through this. This has been hell. That was my worst adrenal fatigue. That was the time that I literally felt like I wanted to kill myself because I felt so guilty for what I had given to them. When I teach live, I always say your why should make you cry. And what I realized in this last week and a half, as I sat there and said, how many other people feel like me? How many of my sisters and my brothers who are out there on the front line of their home, their life? And as I talked to a friend today who is a doctor who has worked every day in the hospital while her kids homeschooled themselves, I said, no, Rach, maybe you need to stop sharing about so much business and actually talk about what the hell motivated you when you even had no idea what you were going to pitch. But what I did is I would reach out to people locally. I continue to post consistently on what I wish I would have had, my kids would have had, what I wish my mom would have had, what I wish that in every shitty situation, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, that somebody would have said in a voice would have said, no, Rach, you're having adrenal issues because there's so many heavy metals. Look at the yeast. Look at this. Could it be SIBO? I wish that somebody would have been there to help me put the pieces of the puzzle together. But it took me years to search out those people, years of the homeopath, Reiki level 1, 2, and 2 school, because I knew I needed to work on self. The cranial sacral, the essential oils, the chakras, the shamans, the everything, the colonics, all the things that I researched, I knew that people deserved that education. And with education comes power. And with power comes choice. I wish that when I was talking to the women who hired me for pregnancy, that they would have been so blessed to be the kind of person like me, finding women to guide them. If I didn't have the people in my life, and that is privilege, because I was able to financially afford them, because I also believed in myself, but I also had privilege. And we live in a world where people believe what we see everywhere. It's not just any one thing. It's every source. It's every media. It's everything on Facebook. It's Instagram. It's the news. It's the magazines. So I say that the mindset to understand what it takes to coach, and this is what I said to another coach, because she said, every one of my clients wants a keto plan, wants weight loss. And I didn't come into this business to be a weight loss coach. And I said to her, and this is the mindset of our client, for those of you who came in late. I said, yeah, truth. Truth, raw truth. Man, did I not think I would talk an ounce about weight loss, because I had an eating disorder. Never in my life did I think that I would be a cheerleader. If anything, soaking wet, I'm 98 pounds. And because of health issues, pylori, Clostridia, Lyme, and everything else in between, emotionally and physically, viral, EBV, if anything, I was losing weight. I was pouring out blood, trying to even hold on to that which wasn't even working. I was so deficient. I couldn't, as Dr. Moore said to me when I did iridology, you're not even holding on to your nutrients. I was that skinny fat with the fatty liver. I was the one with insulin resistance. And what I said to this woman was, yeah, I realized, no, people do need to understand gut and detoxification and how simple this is in a world of EMF waves, pollution, pesticides, emotional sickness, and everything in between, and the endocrine disruptors and the epigenetics and everything. But my clients wanted that. They had no idea that one day they would be hit with some kind of sickness or disease. They were at the infancy of their journey. And that's why when I hear coaches say, well, I only want to work with the highly committed, I do too. But I also wanted to offer opportunities for anybody to have the power, to have the knowledge. And so I did talk weight loss, because in every talk, in every live, in every program, I also planted the seed. And I started educating people on minerals, that we are in a mineral deficient society because we are drinking water out of water bottles, that we are not drinking water from the sink. I talked about probiotics. I talked about prebiotics. I talked about ways to sneak really cool superfoods into kids' stuff. I talked about the issues that I had with hormones, and I didn't treat on hormones. I would say, these were the tests that I had to get. Maybe they would work for you. But when you work with me, I'm going to talk about the lymphatic system. I'm going to talk about how to just detox your body so you feel more chill, and so your hair doesn't fall out, and so your sleep is pretty cool, and you've got good sex drive, and that you don't feel this puffiness, which, yes, is inflammation. But I learned to say things. I learned to communicate to people in their voice and not a health coach voice. I stopped saying things like primary foods, because truth is, yeah, my ideal client was like me. She didn't have a second to pee. She was taking care of herself, her home, her business. I worked with a lot of very busy people. Doesn't matter if they were busy at a high-powered CO, if they were 9 to 5 or at the front desk, if they were the secretary, if they were at home. Truth is, humans have the same pain, the same emotions, and the same happiness and the same feelings. But what we've done in the last 5 years is we stopped talking to people, and we've replaced it with funnels and bots and thinking that conversion happens in list building. It doesn't. It happens in the awareness and the teaching and the education and the power. People didn't just hire me because I had a fancy site, because I didn't. And I didn't do Facebook ads, not to say that they don't work, but they work when you know your ideal client's love language. And mine was more of a girlfriend chat. I did talk about the yeast infections because, damn, they were a problem since I was young. And I did talk about the urinary tract infections because that was a problem since I was young. And I did talk about a lot of TMI stuff because I knew that my person deserved. Maybe it was the guy. Maybe it was a guy listening for his wife. Maybe it was somebody who happened to fall on a YouTube video. I spent more time connecting, and I did create a lot. And it's why people sometimes think I'm insane. Oh, wow, you had so many freebies. No, those were test content that I used. I will say this. It doesn't matter if you ever buy from me. If you don't, it's cool. You're probably making your own stuff, or you buy somewhere else. But at the end of the day, please get over this magic bullet solution. Because I hear people say to me all the time, should I do a challenge to a program? You got to test it out. Do your people actually go to a challenge, or do they have no time? And maybe they went to a challenge 2 months ago, 3 months ago, but they don't have time right now. Stop sitting and feeding into the same problems that the machine feeds. Many of you have known me since 2010 when I built this business in the last recession. And I used to always say, I'm here to rage against the machine. I'm here to empower people. If we as coaches sit here and constantly talk about, is it this? What converts better? Does this work? Should I do this? Should I be on Kajabi? Should I be on WordPress? Should I? All of those should and would is the very BS that we don't like in the machine. And so this is a world of bio, whatever. I'm not going to use a trademarked word. I'm going to say this is a world where we truly have to empower people to know what works for their individual body. No matter what you teach, if you're a life coach, if you're a hormone coach, it doesn't matter. Truth is, guess what? At the end of the day, as I said this to a coach in my membership yesterday, girl, in the beginning, you feel like you are speaking to every different niche. We talk about niche just so we can get clear on an offer, clear on what people need to hear in the awareness, clear so we know what to test. But at the end of the day, guess what? People are coming to you with a myriad of health issues because we live in a world of mystery illnesses. We live in a world of sickness. The woman who has weight issues, I would put $1 million that she's got some fungus and yeast. I would put $1 million she's got some mindset issues. I would put another $1 million on the fact that maybe she's got blood sugar issues, but she never got her A1C tested. I would put $1 million that maybe her fasting is totally fine. But if she really sat and she talked with a coach and she talked it out, because the coach does what? We listen. We listen and we help that person come back to their damn intuition, the very choice and thing that we are born with, but that it's robbed. Marianne Williams says we have dimmed our shine for somebody else. But the truth is that we have also lived, doesn't matter what your fear is. We all have them. And we have permitted and allowed because we have what? Been voiceless. We have martyred. We have said yes when we wanted to say no, because that is the system that we live in. Whether it's been passed down to you by culture, heritage, epigenetics, or maybe you just never had somebody in your life that said, I know you know your body. It's the same bullshit that when I said to the doctor, and again, I say this, I've had great doctors because I know what to look for. And that is the empowerment that the people I hired gave me. The reason that I coach the way I do is because the women and the people and the men and the doctors and the specialists in my life who did it right, they taught me how to be in this business. They also taught me how to be in my other business, which is why I had success, because I was of service to my clients. They called me in the commercial real estate brokerage firm that I worked in, the buyer's bitch. And I would say to them, guess what? Yeah, I know you guys are jealous because you don't care for your clients like I do. They are my family. They come to me because they know I'm not going to screw them over. It's no different in this business. Truthfully, it ain't no different in life. It's okay if we meet our client with their weight issues, because I guarantee there's about 25 other issues. Getting clear is really about getting confident that you know what to say. We just get stuck in the marketing, because none of us thought that we had to be a digital marketer. I learned from watching Todd Herman, Amy Porterfield, James Wedmore, Ryan Deiss. And I didn't find this because anyone gave me a book. I found it because I went on YouTube and I searched and I looked at people who consistently showed up and said the things that I needed. That was business. I learned a lot of things. I wish I could go back and do things 25,000 times over, or not make the mistakes that everyone makes, where we hire somebody and we think that they're going to know exactly what we feel in our heart. They don't. They're not us. They didn't live with the pain or the fear or whatever your journey is, and don't let somebody take it away from you. Your job, our job, is to teach this next generation this shit has got to end. And I say that too because my kids are a huge part of my why. Some of you don't have kids, but you are caretakers. Maybe you're a mommy to your fur baby, or you're a guy who is so sick of guys not being able to have a voice. Find what you want to change in the world. And guess what? It ain't one thing either. Because brand message and what you stand for, it's so deep, because I stand for not wanting women to continue this diet ritual, the sickness of dieting. I don't want to continue the sickness of autoimmune. It's only gotten worse. We have kids who are getting diagnosed as babies with celiac. We have kids with more focus issues who are falling off the goddamn line in school because somebody doesn't want to bend a little. We don't live in a one magic bullet solution society world. It doesn't matter. But yet we still operate that way. It will take a revolution. It's not just one person. It's not just me. It's not just anybody. It's all of us having the courage and the confidence to stop sitting in the should and the would. To this day, Gary Vaynerchuk uses Eventbrite. To this day, Mark Hyman has never left MailChimp. Why? Why? Because it works. So why break it and try to find something else? Why don't, actually, I'm not going to say I'm spending more time. I reworked my business because I'm tired of feeling tired in areas where I don't need to be. I want to have more energy to show up and talk like this, more energy to talk about all the things that are going wrong and what we can do one step at a time together so that we feel supported by each other to rise up. Because we, at the end of the day, we're the only ones that, we are the ones that are talking that talk with each other. So I have struggled to show up in the last few weeks. And I've struggled to show up to find a way to come back to soul and not just talk about strategies and low-cost offers. I can do that all day. I do. But that's not what I did. And that's not what brought me to be a six-figure coach, to work online or offline, to have no idea how to do a challenge, but I still did it anyway. I had no idea what it was going to be like to shoot the webinar. I felt like I wanted to vomit. The first time I taught in front of doctors, I thought I was going to die, literally, because my face was shaking, because I stunk at speaking in front of people, but I always was able to negotiate my way out of it. Oh, no, he wants to go and talk. Oh, why don't you talk? I got over that fear. I put myself on a 1-a-day video unlisted. I did that for myself. I didn't have a coach. I did that because I was so sick and tired of not having choice. I hate feeling defeated. And I also hate feeling overwhelmed. So I kept it simple while everyone else had full sites spending $4,000 with automation. I didn't. I brought people into a conversation because I knew that I really wanted somebody to just tell me that I wasn't crazy, or to say, or I didn't know if I could handle another, wow, we don't know why you have this. We've never seen this. When I talk to coaches, you guys all have the same story. That's why you're my family. And that's why people always say, you're different. Yeah, I'm not a business coach. I organically fell into that label. And I launch very differently. It requires intuition and soul, because when you can feel your person, you can close your eyes and it makes you cry, and you know what she or he's feeling because you've been there, or because you can watch TV and you can feel empathy and you can think, what is that person's life happening right now? What are they feeling? What could possibly happen? And what do I need to teach because of that? There's not a blueprint for that. And there's not a blueprint for anything. It is the intuitive road that you develop. Some of you will thrive more in one-on-one. I love that. I was scared to do groups while everyone else was like, groups. I was like, because I work better one-on-one. I love to be in a group because I need that for myself. I need to be reminded to rise up. So that's what I always looked at my groups as. But they organically happened because people couldn't afford my one-on-one. A lot of my offers really came out. Yeah, I had no idea how to build this business, and I built it with soul. And sometimes I made a mistake and maybe other people went faster. But one thing I do know that I did right is I always listened to people. And I met them where they were. And because of it, I had people that always stayed with me. And I never had a 6-month program. I abandoned that really early because I researched and studied and looked at what other people were doing, and I didn't see that. And also I felt that in my experience, I had worked with people and then I had graduated from them, and we had made a conscious decision, choice to say, hey, it's been amazing to work together. I really think that you should go see this person. And so that's how I modeled my business. I co-created and co-collaborated with some of the finest freaking people out there because I knew that there isn't this one stop. Maybe for some of you it is, and then go balls to the wall. Maybe that's, but have the courage to then stand with conviction because you believe that you really can do that. I love to work in teams. And the people that I attracted because of my health issues, your vibe attracts your tribe and vice versa. I didn't attract people just adding superfoods, but I was friends with a lot of them who did. And guess what? It's not ever just about superfoods. It's about every other issue that we have in life. Feeling alone, feeling disempowered, feeling scared, feeling like we don't have a place to be ourselves, doubting ourselves. It is the human psyche. It is the psychology of people. And yet we try to think that people are just this one way. We aren't. Some of you have offers that maybe are great for where you are now, but they weren't where you were 20 years ago. Some of you are building your entire business around this one ideal client that is more like you, and not everyone is fully committed because of a bunch of issues. They don't trust you enough right now to invest. They haven't tested you out. They've been jaded before. They've got trust issues. Maybe they need to talk to a few more times, and not with the sales strategy of, if you don't get in right now, blah, blah, blah. Never worked for me. I run the opposite way. Maybe you just haven't found your love language to talk to your person yet. And that's the only problem. And it's not you, and your shit's not broke. And it's not the platform. It's not the algorithms. My one client, she always says, and she was a client that she was willing to do that work. She wanted to go online. She wanted to not work face-to-face, but she also committed to really show up every day and put herself out there, even though it was scary. That's the magic. It's the showing up. And she always says to me, my deepest work is to bring people out of victimhood. Because we can't have compassion in victimhood. We can't have love in victimhood. We can't reframe our stories in victimhood. We can't reinvent. We can't recreate. And we can't show this next generation that, God damn it, you throw anything at us and we as a people will frickin' rise up. And excuse for the sniffles, but it's what I said to that coach today. You find a way. It may not be what you thought when you went to school. And you know what? Nothing is. Nothing in business, nothing in life is ever what we think it's going to be. But we have a choice, as Tony Robbins says. We have a choice to reinvent. We have a choice to redefine. And it's not easy. Because if it was easy, everyone would do it. So this is just this is what I'm about. And so at the end of the day, I am driven to create this better world for my kids and for people, for humankind. My father is a rabbi. It doesn't fall too far. My grandparents fought for Jews, fought for Judaism, my grandfather hid people who were fleeing from the Nazis in his home, even though he got raided, because it was for the good of people and humankind. And that is why we all do this. Each one of us have a different why, and each one of us have a different modality. Some of you are all fruitarian and all raw, and some of you are paleo. Some of you are keto. Some of you have very different approaches and stories. And you know what? It's all of us, and it does take a fucking village. I hope that when you come into my free group, or you're in my forums, or that you're even in somebody else's life, that you take advantage of all the leaders that are right in front of us, each one of us. And that if you want to come into any of the groups or paid or our membership or anything that we have, that please start saying, Rach, just believe in me, because I believe in anybody. We all have fear. And that's about it. I felt really called today after having some teary, wonderful cries with some coaches that I've known for years. And it does come just back to this. It gets this raw and real. And that's not in a course. And it's not on a Canva template. And it's not on a platform. It's the confidence to whatever content you have, whatever you teach it with conviction. Show people that you're human and relatable. And that is the one thing that I have always done well. And I can definitely love you up to believe in yourself. But find those people that believe in you if you're not in my space, or if you don't want to be, because that is choice. And the beautiful thing is each one of us have that divine right. So guys, big love to all of you. And yeah, that is me, if you haven't met me. And if you knew me already, maybe it's gotten a little lost in these last few years, because just like everyone, just like when I remember interviewing Jill Stanton from Screw 9 to 5, who had this highly multiple six-figure membership. And she said, I'm just fried. I'm tired. I'm tired of the platforms. I'm tired of that. I'm tired. And you know what the good thing is? I'm not tired anymore, because I reworked a lot of things and also took this time to get really clear about why I do this and what is my purpose. And I always think of her and the people that I looked up to who felt tired. Well, we shouldn't feel tired. We need that energy to fight for what we believe in. And we need that energy to teach people and to also show that we're vulnerable and we don't have our shit together, because hell, I don't want perfection. That was some bullshit stuff that I lived forever from a child. People want us to be ourselves. And that is really, at the end of the day, all they need. All they need, because guess what? It's all we need. Because when I get and talk to a coach and I ask them, what's your story? And they say, I don't have a story. And we sit on the phone or we sit on Zoom so that we can figure out what programs are right. There's always a story. We all have this story. We just don't sit there and take time to honor it with compassion, because we too feel guilty and sad. And we have to then pull out all of that to find what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to show up so that we have the confidence to do it. That's not an easy road. I really suggest following coaches that you believe in and watching how they show up. That's not in a course either. But you have a story. And somebody, as my first coach, Cora, said to me when I used to say, but Cora, should I post this? She would say, you know what? If you feel in your gut and you really sit and you say, higher ups or God or my angels or soul or Mother Earth or Allah, whatever it is, and you say, should I post this? If you feel that tap on your shoulder back and you know, I went through this really shitty stuff to come to here because everything happens for a reason, then post it. And she said, when you don't, sit with it, because maybe that post was just for you to work through those demons so that you can live with purpose and fulfillment and feel aligned no matter what you do. So I am so thankful for that coach who I put the money aside because she had something I wanted. And guys, that's what coaching is about. You don't have to be fixed. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to be fucking real. So I love you all. I believe in all of you. Just want to get my glasses. I think we all need a little more of us. I need you guys. So please don't, and I often when I share this way, people go, oh, Rach, are you okay? No, I'm fucking great because I am this raw and because I know what I'm supposed to do. And I hope for each one of us, whatever your rawness looks like, it's okay if you let it show. It is so okay because that is voice and that is our choice. I will see you guys later. Big heart, big kisses. Ciao, beauties. Hasta la vista. Bye, guys.